Hello, welcome to Empyrean's Oracle. Today we are going to be doing a reading about your career and finances. Ooh, that came out quick. It came out reverse, so that's how I'm going to take it. Oh, yes it didn't. It looked like it turned reverse. We have rest and rejuvenation. Oh, wait. I have the cards upside down, guys. So this came out reversed. Community. Let's get another one. And you also have door to personal healing and happiness. Leave them right there. Okay. So I can all read these together, or I can read them as like separate energies. For the rest and rejuvenation part, I think that right now you're at a period in regards to your career and finances where things feel very stable. Maybe you feel like you don't have to put in as much work as you previously did. Maybe you're at a point where you're extremely comfortable with what you're doing to the point where it doesn't feel like work. Or maybe you love what you're doing so much to the point where it doesn't feel like work. There may have been some issues with coworkers for some of you. Maybe you went into a certain work environment hoping to create like beautiful connections with people, and that didn't end up working out the way you would like, or you would have liked. So yeah, that could be for some of you. But for others, I do think that as of right now, your career and finances is in a very stable place. And even if you are a part of the group that is having issues with coworkers, I still think that aside from that, you like your job, you feel comfortable with it. I mean, we even have the sun on the bottom of the deck, so you're happy with where you are in your career right now. Tell me about rest and rejuvenation. Let's expand on that. We have Empress and Seven of Cups. Yeah, I feel like maybe there was a time when the level of comfort you currently have in your career felt like something that could never happen for you. Maybe you've had people telling you like, girl, work is supposed to be tough. It's not supposed to feel easy. It's not supposed to feel like work. But you're sort of turning that on its head. I think one of the reasons why is because you approach your job in a different way than other people. I think that you see your job as a way to create. You don't even have to be a creative, but I just think that when you walk into work, you're always thinking of, how can I put my stamp on what I'm doing? How can I imbue everything I'm doing with my energy? Like this may even look like you using like a special pen at work to sign documents, or I don't know, you just brightening up a room. I just feel like the reason why work does not feel like work to you is because you do not approach it in a robotic way that works for some people. You do what works for you, which is, you know, maybe dressing up a bit nicer than you would usually dress up. I don't know, it's just something about the way you approach work that is making work feel easy. Tell me about community. Now the Seven of Wands. And the sun actually did come out. I feel like with either your coworkers or maybe people you thought you were friends, how do I say this? Maybe they didn't like how positive you were about work. Because I see you as someone who shines very brightly. And it seems like there were people who liked that at first, but maybe started to bother them. Maybe you're not the type of person who like gossips about people. You sort of stay away from that, especially when it comes to work. And maybe people didn't like that. Maybe you don't talk too much about your personal life and people didn't like that. It's just something about your light and how you approach work bothered people. And that could have caused your coworkers to not really like you that much. You just didn't want to do things the way they did them, but that's okay. That doesn't mean that you're better than anyone. Like, no one in the situation is better. It's just a different way of approaching work, right? And I want to say that you do not have to be making a crazy amount of money or be in a job that's completely perfect in order to love your job, in order to love your life, okay? I just want to make that clear. Of course, that's what we all would want, but I think that you've been able to find happiness even if you don't have everything you want right now. Okay, so then for door to personal healing and happiness, we have the Moon. Sorry, you can't even see me shuffling. Okay, then we have the Lovers. I think that this feeling of comfort in your career is new to you. I think that for a while, it's like I said in the beginning, how people are telling you, you're never going to feel the way about work that you want to feel. You're never going to feel as comfortable as you would like to feel at work. But I think you kind of took that mindset and thought that that would have to be your life. But now you're at a point where you realize it doesn't have to be your life, because it isn't. You know, you love your job. It doesn't feel as stressful to you. Maybe some parts of it does, but for the most part, it doesn't. And I think that one of the reasons for that is that you make a conscious decision to not focus on things that drain your energy. Because like this work thing, even though it's at the center, I still feel like you are not allowing it to affect you as much as it could, right? I feel like the reason why it's in the center is because it's like the only thing about your job that bothers you. Everything else, you love it for the most part. But yeah, you make a conscious decision to see your job in this way. Okay, let's look at what area of your life is your career and finances affecting, or like what area of your life is interacting with your career and finances the most. Let's see. We have 4th house origins. Yeah, it's like I said before, how like for a long time you were maybe told by people in your family you're never going to feel the way about a career that you want to feel. You're never going to be as comfortable as you would like to be. So I think that like I said before, you're turning that on its head, and that could cause issues even with family. So this could be about coworkers, but it could even be like you clashing with family when it comes to your career and finances. I'm wondering if like your career is a little bit out there, like it's not your typical 9-to-5 office job. That's kind of what I'm wondering now. Sorry. We have, it's also affecting 7th house with partners. There's a lot about relationships here. Okay, with the community, partners, origins, because origins can talk about, family life, I guess. And then the Lovers, it's just there's a lot having to do with family. Even the Empress is seen as like someone who can create family. That's what they do, is create. And I know I said earlier that your job doesn't necessarily have to be about like, or have to be connected to creation or things like that, but I'm wondering if it is. Because even the depictions, like Adam and Eve, that like in the Lovers, that's seen as like the start of creation. We have partnerships that can start creation if you decide to have a family or decide to create a life together. Origins, that's creation, right? If you're adding things to your home, building a home, getting a dog, having kids, like that's all creation. So there's a lot about creation here in both the figurative sense and the literal sense. I just think is the reason why that keeps coming up is that you're very, very connected spiritually, I should say. If you do not have like great friends right now or a great partner, I do think that one or both of those things are going to be coming into your life soon, because there's just a lot about creation. And creation, I just feel like tends to happen with other people, right? You kind of need to interact with other people to a certain extent to create. And even the bottom of the deck in this other deck is Rejoice and Celebration, which is the 3 of Cups, which can also be seen as a community card. So now the 3 of Cups, it's no longer reversed. Now it's upright. So I do believe that with your career and finances, you are going to find your people. So keep continuing to not allow negativity and, issues with people affect the way you feel about your career. I'm also hearing something about like studies. I don't know if that's because like I watch readings where they combine career and studies. But let's see, is there something about that? Because maybe there's like something you're studying or a skill you want to work on. Tell me about that. Is there something related to that here? We have anxiety. If you are like continuing your studies to a certain extent, or like you're starting a hobby, it could be giving you anxiety. Why? Goddess of the Moon. Maybe you feel like you don't have enough time in a day to do everything. But the thing is, you don't have to have more time in a day to get done what you want to get done. And then in reverse, we have the second chakra, which is, I can't remember if that's sacral or solar plexus. I think it's sacral. Sacral chakra, which has to do with like creativity, like sexuality, desire. And even that's about creation. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like if right now your biggest worries are your community and feeling like you don't have enough time in the day to get things done, this is going to sound weird when I say it, but don't take it too literally. You can create time. Okay? I'm not saying that you have to stay up all night, lose sleep, nothing like that. But you may think you don't have enough time, but you do. It's just a matter of organizing your schedule a bit, figuring out what is important to you, and then you'll have time to do more of the things that you want to do or need to do. Okay? But please, like, you are so much more powerful than you think. Don't get bogged down by things like time, by things like having issues with people. Like, allow it to affect you to a certain extent, but don't harp on it. Okay? Feel everything you need to feel, and then release it if you can't control the outcome, okay? That's like the most important thing for you right now, because you have so many beautiful things going on, and I already believe that you're not allowing everything to get to you, which is amazing. Just continue to do that, but also don't neglect your feelings, you know? Like with this anxiety here, allow yourself to feel that, but I think a way to kind of combat that anxiety is to understand that you don't have to feel less anxious in order to do the thing you're anxious about doing, you know? I think that some of us, when we feel anxiety or fear, we tell ourselves, like, I need to stop feeling anxious or stop feeling fearful in order to do the thing I'm anxious or fearful about, when that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes it's just a matter of dipping your toes in the water and seeing how long you can do that for, okay? I think that relates to you feel like you need more time in a day. Start small. Start with, okay, if I have an assignment for school, I'm going to work on it for 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. And then if I want to continue, I will. Okay? But obviously, if you're on a time crunch, even if you don't want to do it, you still have to do it. But if you have a little bit more time to get something done, just start it. Okay? That's like the most important thing here, is to just start. And this reading is all centered around creation, which is just the start of something. It's just the beginning. So you're just at the start of your career. You're just at the start of having the type of bank account that you want to have. You're just at the start of having the type of house you want to have, the type of hobbies and skills you want to have. This is just the beginning. So, like, how do I say this? Don't stop the process before it's even begun, okay? I'm just going to leave it there. Oh, wait, no, let me get a Power of Surrender card. I'll get like one or two, maybe. Surrender to play. Take a break from overthinking a goal. Do something fun. Play is a time of recreation and rejuvenation. So we have two cards about rejuvenation. So there is a sense of you needing to rest. But I think that your way of resting is doing things that are fun. Doing things you don't usually have the time or energy to do, you know? Like hanging with friends, watching TV, playing games. Like just something like that. That kind of takes your mind off of all the crazy stuff you have to do throughout the day. Surrender the idea you can fix someone. It's time for a relationship to shift. It doesn't work to try to fix someone. Each person must be accountable for his or her own healing. Okay, so if you work at a job that is like very connected with people, like it's very people facing, you know, maybe you're going out into the community or whatever, understand that there's only so much you can do, okay? You can't fix everyone. You can't change everyone's life. You just can't. So if you focus on the fact, and if you acknowledge that you can't do that, it takes a lot of pressure off of yourself, okay? And it will give you the energy to keep going and moving towards your goals, okay? Thank you so much for watching this reading. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you guys soon. This is Empyrean's Oracle, signing off. Bye.